Well, we're about ready to get started over here in your junior miniature Hereford ring. We're excited to welcome your judge today, Mr. Emery Guy of Rising Star, Texas. Emery is a 2019 graduate of Texas Tech University. After graduating from Texas Tech, Emery returned to the family farm where he is the third-generation farmer in Rising Star, Texas. Aside from being a steward of the land, Emery is no stranger to the show ring and sorting livestock. In his collegiate career at Blaine College, yielded several top 10 finishes at national contests. His family has owned and operated 4G Angus and Herefords and Rising Star for over 20 years, and their operation has produced and shown many champions both in Texas and at a national level. Emery is looking forward to sorting exceptional quality of cattle today at the Cattlemen's Congress. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and welcome Mr. Emery Guy here to the Cattlemen's Congress.
This particular class, heifer, we've discussed already. And again, just in terms of her balance, her symmetry, her refinement up front, just a stunning female. And where she really gets around the heifer in two is she's so much sounder in terms of the way that she transitions out of her hip and hock and down to the dirt. I talked to her earlier. She's got enough muscle. She needs to be boulder centered and deeper bodied, and I realized that. And the heifer in two has those advantages. She's broodier in terms of her kind. She's rounder in terms of her ribs. She's a big bone female that has more total power, and I'd use her to win the class because I still think she looks nice. If we could just change her in terms of the way that she gets out of her hog, she wants to get a little unorganized in terms of her range of motion. We've got a long, extended, feminine-fronted heifer in third that doesn't have the power and shape. The heifer above her, heifer in four, is very level in terms of her lines. One that's flatter in terms of her rib shape. One that gets a little soft in terms of her pastern. Gentleman at the back, deep body, big hipped female that's just too short in terms of her segments. And as we talked to her there, just one that doesn't get out and cover the ground quite effectively enough. Give them a nice round of applause.
Well, congratulations in Class 7, first place. We'll go to Rhett Harrington. Second place, and congratulations to Landon Stem. Third place, exhibited by Kim Peppercorn. Fourth place, we'll go to Connors College. And fifth place, we'll go to Brantley Thayer. We'll now look to see Class 8 over here in Ring 1. And over in our junior miniature Hereford ring, we have gotten started with your first class. You have 3 entries in this class.
Well, good evening over here from the mini Hereford side. And first off, I want to say it's an absolute pleasure and want to thank everyone behind the scenes over here for allowing me out, all the juniors and the parents for coming out here today. Starting it off with this first class, I think there's one that maybe doesn't give you the best look when she's on the standstill, but you put this one in motion, I think her angles allow her to be the most balanced. I really like her angle of her front shoulder and how her rib cage is set in her. Her hip and hind legs are the squarest out of the class. She's probably got the most rib shape up top over the top side of her skeleton. She still handles herself really well and balanced. Congratulations to that young man. Young man's heifer here in second certainly has the advantage in terms of length and extension up front, and I think she's a little cleaner in her jawline, but I think she's a little flatter jawed as well, and when you read her shoulder angle along with her flank, I question if this was going to be quite as easy doing as either of those on either side of her. One that's got a lot of pin width, one that's got a lot of look from the side. I'd just like to change her angle of her shoulder, maybe set her neck in a little bit higher and give her a little more depth of flank. The performance advantage goes to this young lady's heifer here in third, one that certainly got the most top side mass, one that's the boldest in terms of her rib shape. She's the stoutest and sturdiest at the ground. I think it just comes together in a little plainer package. Might be like to clean up her neck or her chest floor and her underline. Good class. Let's give them a round of applause. Good way to start the mini Hereford show.
I think this is one of the more competitive classes that we've seen on this side of the ring this afternoon. And again, it can go just about any way you want it to. Just got to talk them right and explain why they are the way they are. The one for me that I'm just the most solid in putting up front is the gentleman in first. Again, in terms of the fact that that's the best moving heifer, particularly out of her front end. She's a big bone female that's good in terms of her rib shape and her broodiness, and she has plenty of muscle. Now, is she perfect? No, she's not. She could be more feminine up front, and I'd like to square in terms of her hip. But if you'll just watch them exit the arena, that's the significant advantage that she has for me compared to the rest of the field. Got a great looking heifer in second. I mean, really elegant up front and level in terms of her lines. She gets a little too up and elevated in terms of her tail head, and why I think she moves better than the rest of the field. She's a little lighter muscled, a little tighter in terms of her rib. The problem child for me is the heifer in three. I'll just be real honest with you. There's not a stouter heifer in terms of her muscle. She's good in terms of her look. She really gets outside of herself in terms of her shoulder. She gets awfully stilty off either end. And while she's good in terms of roundness of rib, she's not as soft and broody as I like them to be, but a very good heifer. Heifer in four, stopped. You like the levelness. You like the depth. One that's not quite as good in terms of her rear running gear. Deep-sided female that's long-bodied. Female that gets softer in terms of her pasterns, frailer in terms of her bone and foot, but a really, really good class. Quality ran all the way down there. Very interesting. Give them a nice round of applause.
Well, congratulations over here in the mini Hereford ring out of Class 1, first place. Congratulations to Jet Gross. Second place will go to Ari Edwards, and third place to Elizabeth Kaiser. We're now going to bring in Class 2 over here in ring 1. Back over in ring 2, my apologies. Back over in ring 1, results out of Class 8. First place exhibited by Daryl Pritchford. Second place will go to Excel Sandra Gertrudis. Third place, Callie Kimball. Fourth place goes to Landon Stem. And fifth place will go to Demi Harrington. Now in ring 1 is Class 9, our final class in this division.
Got a really good trio up here at the top of the class. Young ladies heifer we've discussed. Again, I think she's got a great look, tons of power, rib, muscle, and I still think that she handles it well more than acceptable enough in terms of her running gear. Just one that just gets out here and goes like she needs to. I think the close decision for me is between 2 and 3. The one I prefer in silhouette and freshness is the young lady that stands in 2. Really attractive, cool looking one, even though we got a little more up on the top side of that neck than what I consider ideal. What keeps it close is she's just a little shorter in terms of her stride and step, and the heifer in 3rd is so sound and mobile and just really good at the ground and big boned and opened up. She's a female that I'd freshen her up. She's starting to get too much down there in her chest that detracts from her silhouette because it doesn't balance as nicely, but I love the way she's built. Then we've got a stout, powerful, deep-sided one that needs to be more attractive. Young man coming next got one that just simply has more muscle than the next 2 heifers, not quite as good in terms of rib shape. The heifer that coming next to the young lady just has more power than the one behind her. They both need to move better. The heifer that we anchor out with here, a female that you like her in terms of her length, a female that just really having too many struggles in terms of the way that she goes off either end. Really good top trio. Give them a nice round of applause.
Well, congratulations in our final class here in your yearling division. First place will go to Arden Ellen Strait. Second place goes to Avery Elizabeth Strait. Third place exhibited by Excel Santa Gertrudis. Fourth place went to Kinsley Kubeka. Fifth place will go to Connors College. Sixth place, Macy Hicks. And seventh place, Emma Bella. We're now going to bring those first and seconds in. Our judge will select his champion reserve yearling heifers.
Move into this division here. Again, put your hands together, reward these breeders and exhibitors. Another quality set of cattle from start to finish. Gentlemen down there on the end. Again, in terms of rib shape, bone, and foot size, you like those things about that female. And one is you study her in terms of her hip placement, assembly, in terms of her look and presence, not quite as ideal. Then we got the little guy in class 2, talked that heifer earlier. I just think she's stunning in terms of her profile, silhouette. I think she goes good. And again, she's got more than enough muscle. Just change her in terms of her rib and her depth of body. But again, it does not hurt that he is that good of a stick hand out here in an open show. I really, really appreciate that. Then we got the gentleman coming next, and she won a very competitive class because I thought she was the best in terms of her movement, particularly off of her rear running gear, deep-bodied, bold-sprung female that we talked about. We could correct her in terms of her hip. In this lineup, her head and neck set isn't quite as ideal as some of them. Heifer at the back is one that's got style, substance, and still very, very sound. And quite easily, young lady, she's my choice to be this division champion. That was a tough class. I thought that was a tough pair. This young lady will be reserved. Congratulations to them.
Well, congratulations in our yearling division. Your champion and reserve will come out of that last class. Congratulations goes to Arden Ellen Strait and Avery Elizabeth Strait. We'll now look to start your senior division here in our open female show. First class in the ring will be class 10.
Single entry in this particular class. We talked this pair earlier, and again, I like the cow. Think there's some very nice things about her. I love that heifer calf right there, and I think that thing's killer. Give them a nice round of applause.
Well, congratulations in Class 10. First place will go to Jared Gardner. We're now going to bring in Class 11 here in your senior female division.
Well, an extremely tough class over here on our mini side, and I'm going to leave these three as they stand. There's quality from top to bottom. I just like the way this young lady's heifer here kind of puts it all together in one package. She's probably not the squarest out of her hawk and most striking, but you read this one just in terms of what kind of feminine features this thing puts into one package. She's so smooth-shouldered. I like how she ties it out of her neck. She stays level back through her hip. She's good-feeted. She's built square at the ground. She's got an excellent rib cage, and I like how it's set on her. She balances up really well from the side. I think one that's probably got the length and extension advantage up here goes to the young lady's heifer in second. You study this one's front feet, and I think I'd like to square them up because she rolls her shoulder and comes out of her knee. One that's probably a little bit flatter just in terms of her condition today, but I appreciate that. I really like the way this one profiles from the side. I think she's got a lot of nice things about her. Young lady's heifer here in third certainly has the stoutness advantage of any of the three over the top. You look at this one's top side mass and power. She spreads so much from her shoulder blades back out through her hip. She's built really square at the ground, and she handles herself on the move. I think today she's probably pushing the edge in condition. If you study her up through the front third of her body, I'd like to clean it out from there. We come over here to the young lady's heifer in fourth, and I think she's the smoother shouldered option, one that probably has quite a bit of look about her to the side. Young lady, if you want to go ahead and swing her out here, one that still handles herself well on the move. She's greener today in terms of her conditioning and her rib shape, one that's got a lot of cool pieces about her. The young lady does an excellent job showing. Young man's heifer here in fourth, the red-eyed heifer here is one that's good and level down her top side. She's one that spreads a lot of width from front to back. I think this one's probably getting a little bit too open in the lower part of her rib cage, and I'd like to clean her neck up a little bit. Maybe doesn't handle herself as well off of her rear too, but a nice one there. Certainly the length and extension advantage. I like this young man's horned heifer here coming next. One that's probably not built as good out of her hawk. I'd like to square her rear 2 feet up. She wants to roll outside of her skeleton. Maybe give her a little more turn to the upside of her rib, but one that's got a lot of quality pieces about her. She balances up well from the side. Young man's heifer here coming next is just a good kind of animal, one that's built real well at the ground, doesn't just hit you any way that's out there, one that's a good solid animal, has a good set of feet and legs and a good rib cage, probably pushing the edge of condition for me. Young lady's heifer here coming next. She's chiseled out more up through her front, and she's extended up there. I'd like to relax her angles off of the front side of her skeleton, allow her to move her hip a little bit better on the move. Young lady's heifer here next. She's one that's got some cool look to her. I think she's just behind the stage in game today. Give this one another little bit of time. Let her get her some more condition. Let her rib cage round out. She's got some nice pieces. Young man's heifer here rounding out the class. One that's certainly got a good set of feet and legs, and her rib cage reads low input. Maybe just gets too plain for me when you compare her up to the ones ahead of her. Great, great class. Let's give them a round of applause. Congratulations.
Single entry out here, and we saw this cow earlier again. The cow is very impressive in terms of her body, her look, and her freshness. Need to change her and tweak her off of her rear running gear, study her further in the division. Give them a nice round of applause.
Congratulations in our last two classes over here in your Santa Gertrudis female show. First place in Class 11 will go to Micah Mikolacek, and first place in Class 12 will go to Excel Santa Gertrudis. We're now going to bring in those first placings. Our judge will select his champion reserve senior females. Followed by that, we will go into your grand drive.
Got another single entry cow here, and you really have to be impressed with her in terms of her presence and her look. She's fresh, even though she's in her working clothes, and she's got a very nice calf along her side. So, very, very solid pair, young man and young lady. Give them a nice round of applause.
Well, congratulations over here in the miniature Hereford ring. Results out of Class 2. First place and congratulations will go to Bentley Baldwin. Second place exhibited by Paisley Weatherly. Third place went to Harley Holman. Fourth place will go to Bodie Carmen. Fifth place was exhibited by Hunter Hudson Harris. Sixth place went to Bennett Berend. Seventh place and congratulations also to Hudson Harris. Eighth place will go to Mackenzie Riley Wayrick. And ninth place in that class, and congratulations will go to Haley Gherkin. We're now going to bring in Class 3 over here in Ring 2.
So we move over here again. I said earlier when we were doing this division, just cow-calf pairs, I just do this kind of half and half the cow, half the calf, the female or pair up front. Again, you like the cow. She's just a good, solid cow that's sound. She's got a wow factor of a calf there that I think is one that I wouldn't want to show against her here in a few months if I was y'all. Pair in the middle, we talked about her, good in terms of her body shape, doing a good job. I changed her in terms of how she goes from behind. Pair at the back, that's a new entry. That's a really, really good cow. That's easily my favorite of the cows by far because she does have some unique parts and pieces. I think she's the most correct in terms of her udder quality. She's got a good calf along her side too, and so I think this is the solid pair to win right here. Use the pair up front to be reserved. Give them a nice round of applause.
Well, congratulations over here in the Gert Ring in your senior division. Your champion will come out of Class 12, Excel Santa Gertrudis, and reserve will come out of Class 10. Congratulations goes to Jared Gardner. We're now going to bring in your division champion and reserves, and our judge will select his grand and reserve grand champion, open females.
Back over on our mini Hereford side, I think there's one up top that wins pretty handily for me. When you just put length and extension, look and balance all into one package, this is what you get. If I'm going to get picky on this heifer, I'd probably like to see her low joints just a little bit looser. Maybe soften her up back through her flank. One that certainly has the advantage in length, extension, and balance. I think she wins pretty handily for me. Young lady's dark red one here in second. You talk about low input and functionality. I think this one's got the set of feet and legs and low input rib cage that'll always be profitable. It just comes a bit plainer, clean her front end up, lengthen her out, maybe get a shot more growth, and she could compete with our class winner. Young lady's heifer rounding out the class. She has the length and extension advantage. But I think this one's probably a bit greener in her condition. I'd like to soften this one's flank up, give her a little more shot of rib. Congratulations. Let's give him a round of applause.
Well, congratulations over here in the miniature Hereford ring. First place will go to Bentley Baldwin. Second place will go to Emerson Barado. And third place will go to Bailey Danson. We're now going to bring in your final class in this division. This will be Class 4.
Well, as we get ready to select a grand and reserve in the open female side of the goat show, again, small crowd over here. Reward these breeders, these exhibitors. Good set of cattle all the way through. They've worked hard to be here. Very, very impressed in terms of the quality. I've talked all of these, at least all of them twice, some of them 4 times already. So we're not going to go back through and do that. But again, just very, very impressed all the way through. Depth of quality was good, and it takes a lot to get them up here. And again, goats are predominantly a South breed, so y'all got a lot of shows left to go. It'll be different in different shows with people different holding the mic, and that's fine. It's just an opinion. This one is mine today, but I do appreciate all the work that y'all put into it, how good the cattle are. Give them a nice round of applause. We'll get you a grand in reserve.
Well, congratulations over here in the Santa Gertrudis ring. Your grand champion female coming out of that middle division. Congratulations will go to Arden Ellen Strait. And reserve champion will go to Avery Elizabeth Strait. Again, congratulations to those exhibitors. We're going to go right into your bull show. We'll look to bring in Class 1.
Back over on our mini side, and I'll be the first to admit my class winner isn't perfect. I think this one at the ground is too frail, and I'd like to see her lower joints a bit looser. But you get this one parked, she's absolutely killer to look at from the side. The way this thing balances up, the way her rib cage is swung into her spine, her shoulders smooth, and her neck and head set out good of it. I just like to watch this one walk around a little bit looser, a little bit freer, sturdier framework up, give her a square foot, and that's an excellent heifer. Young lady's heifer here in second certainly has a looseness advantage, but I'm not sure that I can go ahead and label her as the better structured female. She's one that I'd like to see her hock set in a bit squarer when she moves. Her knee probably comes in a bit too much for me, and when you read the top side of her skeleton, I think that correlates. She's the flatter of the two, but she still balances up extremely well from the side. I like the way this one does handle herself when you watch her move from the side. Young lady's heifer rounding out the class, another one that's square built up top. She spans some mass from the front side of her skeleton out to her pin set. One that probably just gets a bit plainer off of her hock. I'd like to see her framework stoutened up a little bit. Nice class. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you.
Little tyke up here, this one in the single entry class. He tell me the bull's name is Ferdinand, and I think they like each other pretty much. That bull's really muscular and square, deep-bodied bull. We could tweak him just a little in terms of the way that he wants to get out and roll just a hair from the hock to surface. Good job, young man. Congratulations. We'll see you a little bit later. Give him a nice round of applause.
Well, congratulations back in the mini Hereford ring. Results of your final class in that division. First place will go to Riley Purvis. Second place, congratulations to Devry Darborn. And third place will go to Emma Bush. We're now going to bring in those first and seconds, and our judge will select his champion reserve spring heifer calf. Back over here in the Santa Gertrudis ring, we've gotten started with your bull show. Congratulations in Class 1, first place will go to Cade Bram. We're now going to look to bring in Class 2.
I told these three exhibitors we had got this far and they were finally going to make me think. I don't like that, but really three good bulls. Gentleman in the lead takes some parts and pieces of the next two and puts them into one critter. You know, that bull's not wanting to lead, but he did get out and go for us just a little bit here, there, and when he did, I'm more than comfortable saying that he's sound enough in terms of his structure, overwhelming amount of mass and muscle. When he holds his head up, he's still good in terms of his silhouette. I think the further down the road, the one that you're going to have to watch for is just 1 and 2. He's really good looking. He's easily the soundest footed one. He's just behind and skinny out here, but I think one that's really got a lot of promise. If we could leave him stopped and parked, gentleman at the back would win. I think that thing is massive in terms of his muscle and his rib. Huge bone, but study him in terms of his joints. We've got some fluid on either side of his hog. Just gets too outside of himself in terms of the way he goes from behind, but one that really has a lot of good parts and pieces. Very, very interesting class. Give them a nice round of applause.
Well, congratulations over here in Ring 1. Results out of Class 2 in your Santa Gertrudis Bull Show. First place, we'll go to Aaron K. Daniels. Second place, we'll go to Daryl Pitchford. And third place, we'll go to Excel Santa Gertrudis. Now in the rings, Class 3.
I'm going to leave this pair of bulls as they came in. Young lady up at the front has got the one that has more look in terms of silhouette because that one is stronger, more stable in terms of top line, heavier muscled individual. And while I know that that one's a little narrow in terms of chest floor and hock, when we put that one in motion, that one is still significantly sounder in terms of spine than the young lady that comes into deep-sided, fresh-appearing one that just gets too tight and tense up high, just gets too awkward in terms of running gear. Give them a nice round of applause.
Well, if everyone would ringside go ahead and put their hands together for this first division of many Herefords over here. Extremely deep quality with quite a few numbers as well, and I think there's so much give and take from bottom to top. I think if I could take some pieces off of each of one of these out here and combine them into one package, I'd certainly have a lot easier decision to make right now. And I'll kind of tell you my thought process is what I'm going through this. First and foremost, these things still have to be cows, so I'm looking for fundamentals. You want to have these things built good at the ground, but they're also in the show ring for a reason. And there's so much give and take from front to bottom in this division. I'm going to give them one more look, then I'll go ahead and select your champion or reserve out here. Again, let's give them one more round of applause. Excellent division.
Well, congratulations. Back over here in the Santa Gertrudis Bull Show. First place in Class 3 exhibited by Fulton Farms. And second place in Class 3 will go to Carly Buggs. Now in the ring is Class 4 in your first division.
This trio out here, just as logical class as we've had all day on this side of the ring. The dark red one at the front really got a great deal of presence and look, and yet he's stout, he's powerful, he's opened up, and he's square. He's definitely the soundest footed one of this trio out here. And then ideally, he wants to break right behind his shoulder blade just a little. That's getting highly critical on one that I think has a lot of stuff going in the right direction. Young lady in second, long extended, really good in terms of silhouette, not near the mass and substance of the class winner. Don't think nearly as good in terms of rear hog. The one that comes in three, again, attractive one, and one that's still got some look and presence. The lightest muscled, got to be built wider from the ground up. Give him a good round of applause.
Congratulations to our division champion over here, and I want to discuss reserve a little bit because I think it gets closer for me, and that's between the young ladies heifer here out of the second class and young ladies here heifer out of our oldest class. Again, what points do you emphasize here? Personally, I like the build, I like the body, and I like the movement of this young ladies heifer here out of our second class to be reserve champion. Congratulations.
Well, congratulations over here in the mini Hereford ring. Your champion spring heifer calf will come out of class 3. Congratulations will go to Bentley Baldwin. And coming out of class 2, also a big congratulations going to Bentley Baldwin. We'll now look to get started with your next division. This class in the ring will be class 5.
Single entry in this particular group, and the young ladies bull is one that, again, in terms of his body build, his shape, and one that's still, I think, very good in just terms of how he's very comfortable out here. A nice bull, one that's very solid. Give him a good round of applause.
Well, back over in the Gert ring, results on a class 4. First place exhibited by Callie Kimball. Second and third will go to Daryl Pitchford. We brought in class 5. That was a single entry, so first place goes to Daryl Pitchford. We're now going to bring the first and seconds in. Our judge will select his champion in reserve, bull calf.
Calf division of bulls out here. Again, a good set from top to bottom. Little guy up front's got one that's in terms of rib shape and muscle. He liked things well. We talked about him when he was out here in a single entry that maybe Ferdinand doesn't go quite as good as he needs to in terms of his rear hog, but that's a good bull. Really good job, young man. Next class was tough. 3 of them out there, and really one that you just had to pick your preferences. I thought this was the one of that trio that combined some look and balance, still had some muscle. I'm not telling you he's perfect in terms of his structure, but in that group, thought he was good enough. I'd change him in terms of how he goes, make him more comfortable off of his rear two. We've got a long-sided level design one standing in the middle that needs more muscle. He's got to be wider in terms of his range of motion. The one coming next is one that's just powerful and stout, built like a truck, and yet still really cool in terms of his show ring presence, sound wants to break and separate behind that shoulder and blade, and that throws off some of his silhouette and balance, tuck him in just a shade neater. In terms of his shoulder, the young lady at the back's got one. That's that single entry class, just a solid one. Everything's proportionate, everything fits, I think good enough. In terms of range of motion, doesn't have quite as many cool pieces as another one out here, though. Young lady in the blue coat is champion, young lady in the back's reserve. Give them a nice round of applause.
Well, congratulations in our bull calf division. Your champion will come out of class 4, Callie Kimball, and reserve comes out of class 5. Congratulations to Daryl Pitchford. We'll now look to start class 6.
Got another single entry out here, and again, one that's got a great deal of shape. As you read him up high and from behind, that one's extra rugged in terms of his bone and foot. I really like how pronounced he is in terms of his rib shape, and he's fresh and got a sleek look to him. Maybe gets a little bold and coarse up front, but still one that's got a lot of things that I find very intriguing. Give him a nice round of applause.
Well, congratulations in Class 6. First place will go to Quincy Nelson. We'll now look to see Class 7 over here in the Santa Gertrudis ring.
Back again over here on our mini Hereford side, and there's 4 out here, certainly 4 different types and kinds. Not something that I just initially tied on to start the class that caught my eye, but I think if you break them down from a fundamental standpoint, the young lady's darker red heifer up here wins so for me. One that's still got a little bit of balance about her, certainly pushing the edge into condition for me. I'd like to clean the front third of her body up, but one that's built real well at the ground. She's square pinned. She has a lot of top side mass. She's so bold and so broody in her center cavity, and still handles herself well around the ring. The tougher call for me became 2 and 3 here. I went ahead and elected to use the stouter option, one that's still built square in her feet shape, one that's still good in her framework, one that's just got more pop to the top side of her skeleton. She's probably not the squarest out of her pin set, and I'd like to pick them up a little bit, maybe elevate her neck set a little bit, and you could chisel her down through her chest floor, but one that's still got a lot of quality pieces about her. Length and extension goes to this young man's lighter yellow heifer here. I think one that's got a lot of balance about her from the side. She still reads a little terminal to me about her head and jaw. I think she's a little flatter and shallower in her rib cage and frailer at the ground. One that still does get around the ring and move nice, though. Young lady's heifer, dark red heifer here, rounding out the class. Certainly the performance, broody kind of female. I think she just gives up too much look to compete with the 3 ahead of her today. Congratulations to these 4 individuals.
Well, congratulations in Class 5 over here in the mini Hereford ring. First place exhibited by Channing Pearson. Second place will go to Jacqueline Paget. Third place goes to Harley Holman. And fourth place to Emerson Barado. We're now going to look to start Class 6. This will be your final class here in our junior heifer calf division.
And this trio of bulls on the Gert side, again, I'm going to leave them as they came in. And I'll be honest with you, I need to modify each and every one of them in terms of their structural integrity and movement. Call that a wash and sort them from there. Young lady's dark red one is the one that's got way more show ring presence and is easily the stoutest, most powerful, opened up and square. Now, I realize he goes a little awkward from hock and wants to roll down to his hoof wall to the dirt. But in this particular trio, he's the one for me. We've got one in second that's good in terms of rib shape. One, though, that of these 3 is the lightest muscled one, and one that I'd change in terms of his width and range of motion. The bull in 3 has more power and rib than the one in second. Just one that's plainer and shorter in terms of segments. That one, too, is one that wants to get a little restricted, particularly off the hind end. Give him a nice round of applause.
I'll address the elephant in the room over here on the mini side. This thing's got plenty of performance and power, but you step back from that, this thing is absolutely killer just in terms of her look and her build. How good this one's built at the ground. She's so smooth and so fresh in her angles. I think the way this one's rib cage lays into her, she's real fresh in terms of her condition. I like this one quite a bit. Congratulations to this young lady.
Single entry here, a deep-bodied one that in terms of just length and extension of silhouette you like. He's really good through the front one-third of his body. I could change him and modify him in terms of his hip assembly, but still a very good bull. Could have stood some competition. Give that gentleman a nice round of applause.
Well, congratulations back within the mini Hereford ring. Results out of that last class. First place exhibited by Abigail Meaford. We'll now bring this first and second in. Select Champion Reserve Junior Heifer Calf. Back over here in the Santa Gertrudis ring. Results of Class 7. First place went to Kim Peppercorn. Second place will go to Fulton Farms. And third place went to Connors College. We then brought Class 8 in. First place exhibited by Daryl Pitchford. And we're now going to bring in Class 9. This will be your final class here in our yearling bull division.
And this duo of bulls up here, the gentleman in the front, that one's really got some things that you just have to step back and appreciate, because to be as massive, dense, and truck-like as he is in terms of his build, he gets out and goes with such authority and effortlessness in terms of his movement, and then he's still got a great look in terms of his presence. So I think one that's outstanding in this particular group. Young lady's bull in second is not lacking for muscle or power. Stout, big-legged one that just gets outclassed, not as good in build, one that's not as extra in terms of his kind. Give him a nice round of applause.
Jumping back to the mini Hereford side over here, if everyone will, go ahead and put their hands together for these individuals in this second division. I think there's not quite the numbers here, but the quality was still there. I think it's a pretty easy decision for me, one that just excels on all levels, one that's good in terms of her build, her look, her body, and her balance. Young lady's heifer here out of our second division is going to be your champion. Young lady out of the first class will be your reserve. Congratulations.
Well, congratulations over here in the mini Hereford ring. Your champion will come out of Class 6. Congratulations goes to Abigail Meaford, and reserve champion in that division coming out of Class 5. Congratulations to Channing Pearson. We now look to get started with your next division here in our mini Hereford ring. Class 7 will be the next to the ring. At this time, over here in the Gert ring, we're going to bring in all of your class winners and seconds. Our judge will select his champion reserve yearling bull.
Get out here in this division. We didn't have tremendous amount of numbers, but I thought the quality level has stayed consistent to what we've seen throughout the rest of the show. Young lady in the lead, again, one that you really appreciate just how square that one is in terms of hip, really wide, dimensional, a great deal of substance. I said, and when he came in, he's just too open and bold in terms of his shoulder, one that I'd change just a little in terms of how he moves. One in second, that was his interest interesting class. And again, if that one stays parked, he can shake things up here for the second hole because he is really cool looking. He's fresh, got a great deal of muscle. He just needs his rear tires changed out. He just rolls too much and gets a little awkward in terms of his hock. That's a sound moving bull coming out of 3. It's deep bodied that I think is one that's very solid. Maybe not a wow factor in that guy, but not a great deal you need to change him. I could modify the hip. The wow factor of the group is gentleman at the back. That one will be champion. Gentleman in front of him will be reserved because he's sounder. Give him a nice round of applause.
Well, congratulations over here in the Santa Gertrudis ring. Your champion yearling bull comes out of class 9. Keaton Bush and reserve champion will come out of class 8. Congratulations to Daryl Pitchford. We'll now look to start your senior bull division. We've got 2 single entries in this class.
We're going to leave these two in the mini Hereford side standing the way they walked in. 2 different types and kinds. A lot of quality pieces about both of them. Young man's red heifer comes together in a more cowy package today. I think she's the lower input option. She's the good ribbed heifer that's stout and powerful. She's not the most chiseled up front, and I'd like to clean her chest up a little bit, but one that's got a lot of quality pieces about her. Length and extension advantage certainly goes to the young lady's heifer here in second. I think she's the cleaner chested, cleaner throated option. She reads a little bit clubbier for me, and I think I'd like to shorten up her rear feet a little bit, square them up, maybe give her a shot more flank. But she's one that balances up extremely well from the side. Her angles still read true, and she still carries herself well on the move. 2 different types and kinds, but high quality calves. Let's go ahead and give them a round of applause if you would. Thank you.
Get into the last division here, and only 2, both single entries. And I promise you, this is probably one of the more challenging decisions that I've faced all day because, again, I think they're very different in terms of their type and kind. You leave them stopped, goes one way, you move them around, it goes another. Just describe them to you and tell you which one I like. Young ladies in the front, really effortless in terms of how that one goes. Good built, sound structured one that's deep bodied, one that's still got some presence, not near the power, not near the substance of the one that comes behind him. Again, if we leave that one in the park position, as much power, mass, density, and burliness as any of them that we've seen, and yet one that still, for all that power, really got a nice look in terms of his show ring presence and poise for one of this age. That bull's really having a hard time getting around out here off of his rear 2, wanting to labor ever so slightly off of that offside show leg. So again, lots can go different ways. I'm going to use the sounder one up front to win, young lady. That bull will be reserved. Give them a nice round of applause.
Well, congratulations. Your champion senior bull coming out of class 10. Congratulations, Landon Stem. And reserve will come on to class 12. Congratulations to Daryl Pitchford. We're now going to look to bring in all of your division champion reserves, and our judge will select as grand and reserve grand champion Santa Gertrudis Bull. Back over in the mini Hereford ring, results of class 7. First place exhibited by James Glaspie, and second place goes to Oakley DeWitt. Now in the ring will be class 8 here in your senior heifer calf division.
Well, again, not a huge bull show in terms of numbers, but I think very impressive in terms of quality. It takes a lot to keep these bull going on the road. It's a hard job to do. Give them a big round of applause. Excellent set all the way through. And simply put, the animal that I've been the most impressed with on your Santa Gertrudis side is standing out in the ring. He will be the champion, young man, right here. Congratulations to you. Calf will be reserved, young lady. Congratulations to you.
Well, congratulations. Your grand champion Santa Gertrudis Bull goes to Keaton Bush coming out of your yearling division. And a big congratulations to your reserve champion coming out of our bull calf division, going to Callie Kimball. Again, congratulations to all of those exhibitors. We'll now look to get started with our Santa Gertrudis group classes. Followed by that, we'll go right into your open 5-star females.
As we start the group classes out here, the group in the middle is going to win. And again, the way I look at these, it's about the quality of the ones that are out there. Also, in terms of how uniform they are. I discussed that class, very more similarities in those two females than there are differences, and they're very, very good. Obviously, I told you just a few seconds ago, I think the best animal that's been in the ring is the bull, and he's impressive. I don't there's quite as much quality or consistency with the heifer calf alongside, but still a very good one. Then we've got two stout ones that end up third that have just changed them structurally. But that's a great set. Give them a nice round of applause.
It's like they're standing. Again, a deep class over here on our mini Hereford side, and there's one that I tied into pretty quick when she hit the ring. I think one that you studied just in terms of the pieces that aren't supposed together that still come together in a super balanced package. She's a sound made, well presented, well balanced heifer. Young lady, congratulations to you. Gets a little tougher from here, especially between 2 through 5. All of them have a lot of similarities about them. I think, again, when you break them down from a fundamental standpoint, I like the feet and legs on this young lady's heifer here in second to go ahead and come in second. Is she the most elegant up front? No, but of the remaining 4, she probably is the thinnest necked and the freshest in terms of her condition. Young man's heifer here in third. She's the broody, soggy kind of brood cow. One that's certainly got a good set of feet and legs on her. She's the low input kind. She just gets a little plainer for me. I'd like to throttle back her condition a little bit for her to creep up a spot. Young man over here in fourth doing an excellent job showing today. Here's one that's really square built, really good at the ground. She's good in terms of her lines. She balances up from her shoulder back. It's her shoulder forward that I'd like to clean up, loosen her neck a little bit, lengthen it out, and clean it up down through her chest floor. Young heifer here is giving this young lady a fit, but she's still sticking with it, and I need to commend her for that. I like this one's condition of the top 5. I think she's got a lot of cool pieces to her. One that probably gets a little more rigid for me off of her rear too, maybe a bit flatter in the top side of her rib cage. I like that one quite a bit, and I must commend that young lady for sticking in there. Length and extension advantage comes to this dark red heifer here. One that gets a little too upright on either side of her skeleton. I'd like to soften her passing out and give her hock a little bit more flex, keep her inside of her framework that way. One that's got a lot of power to her and stoutness. Young man's darker red heifer here, she's got the length and advantage up front. I think one that probably gets a little plainer just in terms of her rib shape. One that's got a good set of feet and legs on her. I'd like to give her a softer flank and loosen her down up there. Young man's heifer here coming next. She's got plenty of power and plenty of body. Just comes in a bit plainer package. Same goes for these 2 rounding out the class. Good cows that just run into some really good ones up top. Congratulations. Let's give them a round of applause. Deep class.
Second class groups out here. Again, in terms of quality, structural integrity, the group that I choose surfaces easily. The second group is very uniform in terms of type and kind. They still have some quality. Again, in terms of how they move, I'd change them just a little. Congratulations to both. Give them a nice round of applause.
Again, over here on our mini Hereford side, one that you have to study to find the difference is, I'm going to go ahead and use the young man's lighter red heifer here. I think this is the looser skeleton option one. I like her hock and I like her hip. It stays within the plane of her framework. She's the one that's more chiseled out through the lower part of her shoulder, and she's cleaner in her condition. And I think actually if you study this one's true base width, she has more topside mass. Maybe not the most out there, maybe not the most extended, one that's got some good pieces to her. Young man's darker red heifer here, she's the one that's the super broody, super bold one. I think one that's probably a bit tighter off either end of her skeleton for me. She tapers to her base, and I'd like to clean her condition up just a little bit, make her a little freer off either end of her skeleton. Congratulations to these two exhibitors.
Well, we have the results from Class 8 and 9 over here in your mini Hereford ring. First place in Class 9, exhibited by Berkeley Sears. Second place, go to Pearson Sadie Plagg. Third place, Legend Cooper. Fourth place, go to Jace Cunningham. Fifth place, exhibited by Bodie Carmen. Sixth place went to Haley Gurick. Seventh place will go to Blaine Yuri. Eighth place will go to Jet Gross. Ninth place went to Ryder Cowley. And 10th place to Jackson Terry. In Class 9, first place exhibited by Jet Jude Baker, and second place will go to James Glassby. Class entering the ring now is Class 10. This will be your final class in this division. Back over in the Girt ring, we're going to get started with your Star 5 female show. We'll be bringing in Class 1.
I had to ask here because I was a little thrown off when they all came in here. This is from June, the youngest, to October. And so that's quite a wide age spread out here. I had to get that in my mind. And again, lots of quality all the way through here. Heifer in the lead surfaces because she takes the parts and pieces of the next two, puts them in one package, and yet one that's still very good at the ground, has lots of show ring appeal and muscle. And I don't think she's the absolute best looking one of the crafts, but she's got lots of show ring poise and presence and very good at the ground. I like the black heifer in second. Stopped. I think she's great in terms of her rib shape. She's got a really neat look, and she's good off the front end. She's a little frail in terms of her bone, foot, and feature, and she wants to get a little tight in terms of her rear hog. The baby of the class is the one that I think is the best looking one out here. She's gorgeous in terms of her lines and balance. She's fresh. Obviously, she's very young. If I could just change her in terms of her shoulder and knee and give her just a little more flex from behind, she'd win for me because there's plenty of enough muscle in there, plenty enough power. Then we've got an older one coming next that in terms of soundness stays above the next two, big-bodied. She's one that we need to lean her up. In terms of her condition, we've got a better-looking one behind her that is leaner, that gets too rigid in terms of her rear hog. And then we close the class out with one that is deep-bodied and heavy-muscled. She's the most awkward and uncoordinated in terms of the way that she goes. Very interesting. Give them a nice round of applause.
Well, congratulations in our first class of Star 5 females. First place will go to Keaton Bush. Second place will go to Daryl Pitchford. Third place, Fulton Farms. Fourth place, H2 Cattle Company. Fifth place, H2 Cattle Company. And sixth place will go to Abigail Mitchell. We'll now bring in Class 2.
Stepping back a fence over here on the mini Hereford side, I think there's one up here in this young lady's heifer that caught my attention, and I think she ran to the top pretty handily for me. And I must commend this young lady for being able to keep one this old, this fresh, just in terms of her condition. You study this one, she's so clean in terms of her angles. She's so clean and fresh in terms of her joints. I love the way this one's presented up through the front end. She's so good in terms of her skeleton. Probably not the most out there just in terms of pin width and power. Maybe not the biggest bellied one out here today, but I absolutely love this one just in terms of freshness, in terms of balance, and being able to get around the ring. A little more short between 2 and 3 here for me today. I went ahead and went with the young lady's heifer here. She's the one that's got the stouter package. She's the wider pin, bolder bodied one. I think what comes fault here for me, this one's too upright off either end of her skeleton, too rigid in her pasterns, and I think she needs more flex. Other than that, I think this one's an extremely high quality individual. Young man heifer here in third today. She's got the looseness advantage. She's one that gets around the ring a little bit better. She's cleaner in her joint work, and I like the condition on this one, especially through the front third of her body. You study the top side of this one's skeleton, though. She gets a little bit flatter, especially in her forerib and down in through her stifle. One that's got a lot of balance about her, and she handles herself extremely well on the move. Young lady's red heifer here in fourth. I think one that's got the pin width and one that's got the stoutness. I just don't know if she has the rib shape to go along with it. I don't know if I'd like to clean this one's front third up, make her in a better balance package, one that's got a lot of balance when she's on the move, though. Young lady's heifer here rounding out the class. Again, another one that's good at the ground and good in her rib shape. I think she just runs out of performance, runs out of look when you get her ahead of those up here. Congratulations to these extremely, extremely high-quality individuals to start the class.
Well, as we get out here to pick the Star 5 Grand and Reserve, we just talked the pair from the first class, have 3 single entries behind there. Young lady's heifer out of Class 2, stopped. You really like her look. She's got plenty of width and dimension. She gets too upright and stilty for me through her front end. Heifer in the class behind her, refined, feminine featured, maybe a little frail and light muscled. Then we've got the cow-calf pair behind there. Really good calf alongside. She's doing a good job. She's stout and powerful. Maybe not quite as collected in terms of her look, a little rougher around the edges. And I know we've got this last show on this side, but they got a big deal going over there. This is my 4th and final breed here at Cattlemen's Congress over the 2 weeks, and I appreciate the Gerts having me. Want to take just a short minute and thank Cattlemen's Congress for all that they've done, because 3 years ago, when everything was shutting down and closing down, the few shows that still happen were only junior shows. And Cattlemen's Congress gave us all a venue and a place and a chance to exhibit open cattle. And why I agree that junior shows are paramount, you can't have one without the other. because without a place for you breeders to exhibit and display your cattle so you can get the juniors to look at them, it's not going to work out. And so Cattlemen's Congress single-handedly saved open cattle show exhibition in this country, and in 3 short years has made it the premier and the largest event of its kind. And so really, really appreciate what they've done, not only for the exhibitors, but how cool they've made it. They've added things and continue to add things that other open shows in the country don't have. I can't wait to see where this lasting legacy continues to go. I've been very fortunate to have a part of it. Thank y'all for having me. We'll get you a Grand and Reserve. They both come out of Class 1. Congratulations to you.
Well, congratulations, your grand champion Star 5 female here at the Cattlemen's Congress comes out of Class 1. Congratulations, Keaton Bush. And reserve champion also coming out of Class 1. Congratulations to Daryl Pitchford. If we could also say thank you to our judge this afternoon, Mr. Ryan Rash. Let's put our hands together for him. Back over the mini Hereford ring, results out of Class 10. First place exhibited by Teos Heck. Second place will go to Haley Gurick. Third place went to Kane Alexander. Fourth place exhibited by Sarah Orick. And fifth place went to Emma Bush. Now over here in ring 2, our judge is going to select his champion reserve senior heifer calf.
Well, I won't keep these class winners out here in this division much longer. They're getting antsy. Again, I'll just hit the high points. I think this was an extremely, extremely high-quality division here. So much give and take, but so much good quality pieces about them. I could do a lot of different things here and be just as right either way. But if you would, go ahead and put your hands together, and I'm going to select your champion and reserve out of this division. Congratulations.
Well, congratulations over here in the mini Hereford ring. Your champion will come out of Class 8. Congratulations will go to Berkeley Sears. And reserve champion will come out of Class 7. Congratulations goes to James Glassby. We're now going to look to start Class 11 here in your mini Hereford ring.
Young lady's heifer here starting this class does so pretty handily for me. I love the presentation on this one, how fresh she is. This thing's really soft at the ground. She's balanced. Her rib cage is right where it needs to be in her spine. I love how square this one is. She's not the most overwhelming in terms of power, but she's got the look and length and extension and the soft ground joints. I think this one's pretty nice. The sort here became 2 and 3 for me. Certainly different types and kinds. I went ahead and used the young man's stouter, broodier one here in second. I think she's one that's actually built square at the ground too. Her pin set square. She just needs to be cleaned up through her underline and up there through the front third of her body. Young man's heifer here in third certainly has that advantage over. She's the cleaner conditioned option. I don't know if this one's built extremely right at the ground. I'd like to square her hawk up, maybe loosen her spine a little bit, but she's got a lot of cool pieces about her as well. Young man's heifer here in fourth, ultra broody, ultra cowy kind of an individual, just gets a bit plainer from front to back, one that's still built real well, maybe he's pushing the limits just in terms of condition for me. Young man's heifer here, she's a stouter one, she's got plenty of pin width, and she travels well around the ring. Again, just needs to be cleaned up in terms of her underline and up through the front third of her body. Young lady's heifer here has the length and extensions rounding out the class. I think she just runs out of rib cage and power to compete. Extremely nice class, extremely good winner. Let's put your hands together for a round of applause.
Well, congratulations. In Class 11, first place will go to Abigail Meaford. Second place goes to Jet Cross. Third place will be exhibited by Blaine Yuri. Fourth place goes to Jonas Terry. Fifth place in that class exhibited by Jace Terry. In sixth place will go to Bailey Danson. We're now going to see your final class in this division. This will be Class 12.
Leave these two here walking on the mini side again, just like they came in. I like this was a presentation up front. Her condition certainly clean back. One that's good in terms of how she handles her neck out of her shoulder. I think one that's got the right kind of line. She handles herself well around the ring. She isn't the most stout, and she probably isn't the boldest bodied. And I think down into the lower forearm and into her heart, she needs to be blown open a little bit. But one that's got a nice look about her. One that's got a lot of cool pieces. Certainly advantage just in terms of broodiness and stoutness comes for this young lady's heifer here in second. And I actually do like the angle to her shoulder a little bit better than our class winner. I think it's set further back onto her skeleton, transitions nicer into her forerib and over the top side of her rib cage. Just gets a bit plainer, cleaner condition back a little bit, and I think that one could be a bit more competitive. Congratulations to those two exhibitors.
Well, congratulations. In Class 12, first place exhibited by Sutton Stelzer, and second place will go to Haley Garrick. We're now going to bring those first and seconds in out of those two classes, like the champion reserve here in your intermediate female division.
everyone would go ahead and put your hands together for these out in this division again. I think there's two that rise to the top for me, and I think they fall into place fairly easily. I want to go ahead and use the young lady's carrier heifer up front. The way this thing blends into her shoulder back, handles her spine a bit better. She's going to be my champion, and a young man here today out of the second class will be the reserve. Congratulations. Good job, buddy.
Well, congratulations, your champion intermediate female coming out of Class 11. Congratulations goes to Abigail Meaford, and reserve champion will go to Sutton Stelzer. We're going to bring in Class 13. This will be your spring yearling division.
young lady's heifer here out here wins for me fairly handily, just in terms of how her pieces fit together on her skeleton. I like this one's length of hip. She's the smoother shouldered heifer. She's still got plenty of power. She's the most balanced on the move. I like the angles to her lower joints as well. Young lady's heifer wins pretty handily for me. The tougher call came between 2 and 3. Young man's heifer here, I think, puts the pieces to the puzzle together a little bit better for me. I think she's a looser skeleton one, probably not the deepest, not the softest sided female. She's a little bolder and rounder in the lower part of her shoulder, but I think she still comes together a little bit smoother than the young lady's heifer here, who in third. She's got the sogginess advantage, and she's probably a little bit more extended up front and extended out to her hip. She gets a little upright off her pastern, probably needs to be a little more relaxed on the move for me. She gets up in her loin, I think could still be cleaned up down through her chest floor. Young man's heifer here rounding out the class has the body and has the build. She's just the plainer one. I think could be stoutened up a little bit, clean her underline up, tuck her chest floor back up in there. Congratulations to these good class winners. Let's give them a round of applause.
Well, congratulations in Class 13 and your spring yearling heifer division. Your first place and champion will go to Jordan Bertram. Second place in reserve will go to Jude Baker. Third place, Cadence Erie. And fourth place, Lux Greenfield. We're now bringing Class 14. This will also be your junior yearling female division.
Pretty tough pair out here. So much give and take between the two. Some things I'd like to change about our class winner. The second place one does better. I just like the way our class winner balances up from the side. I'd like to rock her shoulder angle back a little bit, and I think she gets up in her spine ever so slightly. But she's the smoothest, she's the cleanest and most attractive about her head, neck, shoulder. And I do like how she sits down off her ear joints, and I think her hip set's a little longer and square as well. Young lady's heifer here in second. She's certainly one that's bold-bodied. She's extremely massive. Her pin set's wide, and she's built sturdy at the ground. And I do like her shoulder angle a bit better, but it's still round, and she gets a bit more pinched in her heart. Probably reads a little more terminal about her head and neck and round her shoulder. Congratulations to these two. Congratulations. Extremely high-quality pair.
Congratulations, your champion junior yearling female. We'll go to Lucy Carmen and reserve champion exhibited by Jacqueline Paget. We'll now go into your final division here in our junior mini Hereford show. This will be Class 15 in your senior yearling division.
Again, another tough pair here out of these two in this last class. I think this one the young man has up front comes together a little bit better. She's better balanced. She certainly pushed the edge in terms of maturity and condition for me. I think one that she's a longer-sided, longer hipped one that's still got a lot of look about her. Young lady's heifer here in second. She's a bold ribbed heifer. She's super stout and sturdy in her framework. She's extra wide in her pin set. I think you step back off this one. And although I do appreciate the condition she is in, I think she becomes the piecier of the two out here. Her shoulders open, her foreribs a little flatter, and I'd like to clean her chest floor up, maybe square her up off of her rear 2 feet. Congratulations to these two. Let's give them a round of applause.
Well, congratulations in our final division over here in your junior Mini Hereford female show. Your first place in champion will go to Caden Alexander, and second place in reserve champion going to Kaylee Duty. At this time, we're now going to bring in all of your division champion and reserves, and our judge will select his grand and reserve grand champion miniature Hereford female. After the selection, we'll go into our steer show, starting with your prospect steers. Well, at this time, we're going to bring in those division champion and reserves. Our judge will select his grand and reserve grand champion, miniature Hereford female. Coming out of your spring heifer calf division, champion exhibited by Crew Baldwin, and reserve champion was exhibited by Bentley Baldwin. Coming in out of your junior heifer calf division, your champion, congratulations, exhibited by Abigail Meaford, and reserve champion was exhibited by Channing Pearson. Coming in out of your senior heifer calf division, champion exhibited by Berkeley Sears, and reserve champion went to James Glaspie. Coming in out of the intermediate division, champion exhibited by Abigail Meaford, and reserve champion was exhibited by Sutton Stelzer. Your champion spring yearling female, congratulations to Jordan Bertram, and reserve champion was exhibited by Jude Baker. In the junior yearling division, champion exhibited by Lucy Carmen, and reserve was exhibited by Jacqueline Paget. And out of your final division, your champion senior yearling exhibited by Caden Alexander, and reserve was exhibited by Kaylee Duty. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for all of our miniature Hereford exhibitors here at the Cattlemen's Congress.
We get all our divisions in reserve out here. I think the lineup looks exceptionally well from the side. And if you would, let's go ahead and put your hands together one last time for these junior exhibitors out here. I'm not going to get into in depth, but I'll hit some high points out here. There's a pair of heifers out of the first division. You just love the way these things are built. There's so many good pieces about them. We come here to the second division, an absolute powerhouse heavy hitter that's so good built. She's so balanced and so good on the move. Third division here, we got one that's super soft. She's good in her lines. The pieces of the puzzle fit together right there. Maybe she's not just wow out there in any term, but she's super hard to pick a hole in. A good kind of brood cow out here out of our next division. She's still balanced. She may not be the most extended off either end of her skeleton, but one that's really good built, one that looks good from the side and has a lot of power to her. We round the lineup out here with 3 at the end. I think that all kind of fit that cookie cutter image of a just good built, good bodied cattle. Maybe not quite as attractive as the ones ahead of them, but not to take away, still a lot of quality pieces about them. I think there's 2 out here for me that come to the top pretty handily, and just as easy as one comes to the top, this young lady's heifer here is going to be your champion today. Pull our reserve division out here and she fits right in, but there's another one out here that I like an awful lot, and it's going to be this young lady out of your third division. She'll be your reserve champion today. Congratulations to all the exhibitors.
Well, congratulations, your champion miniature Hereford female here at the Cattlemen's Congress in our junior show. Congratulations to Abigail Meaford and your reserve champion who come out of that senior heifer calf division. A big congratulations to Berkeley Sears. We'll now get started with your steer show. We're going to go into your prospects first. First class in the ring will be class 16. Well, looks like we're about ready to get started with your mini Hereford Prospect Steer Show. We're going to bring in Class 16.
If you want to go pull out, young man. Starting this prospect steer class off, a extremely tough one for me to sort, and there's several different things you could go about it here. I'm going to go ahead and use the young man in the black cowboy hat steer here to start. You talk about just a square build. He's square pinned. He's so good at the ground. You watch this thing walk around the ring. He's up-headed. His tail head stays so square. He's got a good shape over the top side of his skeleton. When a young man gets him cocked off, I think this thing looks pretty nice from the side. From there down, it took quite a bit of sort for me to decide what I wanted it to do, and I'll be the first to admit second and third place for me here probably give up quite a bit of power compared to the calves on either sides of them, but you study them just in terms of their feet and legs and how they draw out from the side. They're still stout pinned, and they're still built wide underneath. These are just the light green ones. I think the young lady's yellow steer here in second, he's the more up-headed one. He's cleaner. I think he's squarer off of his rear, too. He's got more of a steer build for me. Young lady's steer here in third, one that's super good-legged, super good featured. I think one that's probably a little bit frailer. He's probably just not quite as stout over the top side of his skeleton, again, but one that draws out so nice from the side, so clean. Young lady does an excellent job presenting this one. Again, there came some sort for the bottom three in this class. Young man steer has the length and extension advantage. When you study the top side shape on this one, he's probably got more mass over his skeleton. He's certainly cleaner in terms of his joints, and I think he's built a little smoother than the two here that round out the class. Again, they've got some look about them. They've got some power about them. I think we run into some structure problems getting a little upright off either end of their skeleton, maybe clean up their joints. Again, but they've got a lot of look, a lot of power about them. An extremely tough class. Let's give them a round of applause.
Congratulations. First place in that class will go to Deacon James. Second place will go to Darby Darbon. Third place and congratulations to Channing Pearson. Fourth place will go to Callan Colton Huseman. Fifth place and congratulations to Jackson Logan. And sixth place will go to Trey Logan. We'll now look to see your final class in our Prospect Steer Show. This will be Class 17.
an extremely, extremely high-quality pair. I'm going to go ahead and leave them like they're standing. Young man up front's an excellent stick, and I think that's what gives him the advantage today. You study this one just in terms of its lines, so good in its feet and leg work, so good just in terms of how its neck set in the top side of its shoulder. Probably isn't the most overwhelming just in terms of top side mass. Maybe his forerib's not perfect, but he's sure killer looking from the side, and the young man does an excellent, excellent job. Young lady's steer here in second. She's giving him fits today, but she's still hanging in there. I think this thing's got a lot of good about him. You study this one, he's got the fat steer look on the show steer build, and I think this thing's just so good just in terms of how stout and powerful he is, the head and neck shoulder junction. He's certainly bolder in her forerib and has more topside mass from his shoulder back out to his hip and stifle. He's just giving this young lady fits today. Congratulations to those two. Those are two extremely, extremely high quality steers up top. Young lady here in third, another excellent showman. One that's just kind of a good basic steer. He's good built, maybe a little frailer at the ground, runs out of power and look to compete with those two up top. Young man here rounding out the class, another good kind of a basic built steer, one that's longer and extended than it's the one directly ahead of it. But you study this one, probably a little flatter muscled and a little flatter in its rib shape. Congratulations to these four exhibitors, two extremely, extremely good steers up top. Let's give them a round of applause.
Well, congratulations in our final class. In our Prospect Steer Show, first place will go to Corbin Pettigrew. Second place, congratulations to Harper Lashmet. Third place will go to Callan Colton Huseman. And fourth place will go to Caden Alexander. We're now going to bring the first and seconds in. Our judge will select his champion reserve here in your Prospect Steer Show.
One more time, let's put our hands together for these prospect exhibitors out here. Numbers might not have been there, but this is certainly high quality, and it hadn't made my job real easy. I'll go ahead and talk these since there's not many out here. Our first class, lightweight class out there. Young man's got a steer that's extremely square built. When this thing prances around the ring, he stays so level in his top line. I love the way this one's pin sets in him. He's real good up front. Probably not there just in terms of finish, but he's a lightweight prospect today, and that's going to come just along like the young lady's second place one there out of that class. An extremely good built, well-looking one that probably doesn't have the punch that the two behind them do. The heavyweight class here, that was probably one of the tougher calls for me to make. Young man steer out here, one that strikes a look from the side. I like how this thing one draws out. Again, he's probably not the stoutest over the top side of its skeleton, but one that's certainly attractive. He can move, and he can stand there and look really attractive. Young lady's heifer here, the young man's brought back in. I'd like to commend that young lady again for sticking with it out there. I know it's not always easy, but she's got an extremely good steer, one that feeds so much mass from its shoulder back out, one that's got so much look about him on the standstill. He's a little chubbier, and I think that's why some of his holes are filled in. He's so good at the ground. It's just real hard for me to get the two heavyweights apart. They're going to be a champion reserve today out here. Congratulations to these exhibitors.
Well, congratulations, your champion reserve prospect, both coming out of Class 17. Congratulations, your champion will go to Corbin Pettigrew, and reserve will go to Harper Lashmet. We'll now look to start your market steer show. We'll bring in Class 18.
Four up here in a class of prospects, and I think this young lady steer here wins so fairly handily for me. You read this one's topside shape. It's all there. He's extremely massive. He's so good built at the ground, too. Now, he's not the most attractive up through the front third of his body, but he's still plenty acceptable. I really like the way this one comes together. He has hands down the most topside mass, and when you can combine it with a look and a build that allows him to balance up, I think he wins pretty handily for me. Second and third came pretty close for me, and I'll be the first to admit the young man steer here. I'd like to square his rear feet up a little bit and make him a little stouter. He tapers down to the base of his framework there, but he's still got a lot of topside mass. This one still draws out good from the side. Maybe not as extended as either of them on either side of him, but a pretty good calf that's got a lot of center body power and a lot of topside mass. I like how he moves out around the ring as well. Young ladies here in third. Here's an extended one that certainly got the length advantage up front. I think he's longer hipped, but I don't know if he's quite as bold over the top side of his skeleton. He's another one that I'd like to stouten his framework up a little bit. Still handles himself well on the move. I like this one quite a bit. Young lady steer here in fourth. One that's not quite as loud marked as your regular Herefords out here, but I think one that's got some cool pieces about it. One that's got a lot of topside shape, bold rib cage, but when you watch this one on the walk, I think it gets a little upright off either end of its skeleton. He's a shorter frame steer as well. I don't know if I'd like to see him set down a little bit skleveler in his top line. A nice calf that balances up from the side, though. Young lady steer here next, another kind of basic kind of a prospect steer that's got the build and body for a fat steer. I just don't know if he's got the look to compete with the ones ahead of him. Again, two more rounding out the class, just kind of the same type and kind as him. Maybe not have quite as much power. Maybe get a little tighter off either end of her skeleton. Extremely good class. Let's give him a round of applause. High quality from top to bottom.
Well, congratulations in our first class, market steers. First place exhibited by Finley Buckholes. Second place exhibited by Hunter Hudson Harris. Third place will go to Riata Tech. Fourth place exhibited by Deacon James. Fifth place went to Lux Braden and Indiana Greenfield. Sixth place in that class exhibited by Haley Gurrick. And seventh will go to Mackenzie Riley Wyrich. Now in the ring is Class 19, your final class of market steers.
They're extremely competitive pair here in this progress class. I think when you can put this much mass and power on a build that's so good as the young ladies here, that's the one I'm going to go ahead and to use. Now, I know he's not the most long and extended up front, but he's still smooth in the way he ties it into his skeleton, and I actually like the way this one's shoulders set on further back. I think it allows him to keep his spine a bit leveler into his skeleton. So good off of his rear, too. This thing is absolutely massive over the top side of its skeleton. Again, maybe not quite as extended up front. Neck could be set a little bit higher, but that's a lot of mass and power to overlook there. Young lady steer here in second. I do like the way this one's neck set in a bit higher. It's smooth in terms of how it comes up, and he's longer and more extended, but I think this one's shoulder angle's a bit rock forward for me today, and I think when you combine that, he's just a bit tighter off of his hawk and pastern. He wants to get up in his spine just a little bit, but a lot of quality pieces about that steer. I really like the way that one looks when he stopped. Two different types and kinds here rounding out the class. Another kind of powerhouse meat wagon steer. This young man's here in third. Just gets a little shorter for me, a little overcooked just in terms of condition. And then the young man steer certainly has the length and extension advantage, but he's tight in his hawk, gets a little flatter in terms of his rib shape, not quite as much top side mass. I think he falls off behind his shoulder a little bit. Extremely competitive class. Again, let's give him one more round of applause.
Well, congratulations. In our final class of market steers, first place go to Devry Darborn. Second place, congratulations to Teddy Kraft. Third will go to Braun Lashman. And fourth to Keller Oaks. We're now going to bring those first and seconds in. Our judge will select his champion reserve market steer.
One more time for the Progress Steer exhibitors out here. Let's give them a round of applause. It's been an extremely, extremely competitive show. I'm not going to take too much of y'all's time up, but I do want to extend my thanks to the many guys and all the guys behind the scenes for allowing me to come out here today, as well as all the juniors and their parents who made the trips up here. It's certainly been a fun time for me, and I hope it's just been equally as fun to y'all. I tell you, it's a great place. You can come and sort some quality cattle. And when the kids all say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, I don't know if there's really a better spot to raise a kid. Now with that said, I'm not gonna take too much time. Again, I want to extend a thanks to everyone for allowing me to be here. I think there's 4 extremely high quality ones out here, and I don't know if you can really be wrong any way you go about it. I just know it was pretty hard for me to overlook the extreme amount of mass and power that's put on a pretty good build right here. Young lady, you're going to be my champion, and young lady up here out of lightweight is going to be reserve. Congratulations. Good job, young lady.
Well, congratulations, your champion market steer in our miniature Hereford show. Congratulations. We'll go to Devery Darbon, and reserve champion, congratulations, goes to Finley Buckholes. Again, congratulations to all of our exhibitors. A special thank you to our judge, Mr. Emery Guy.
Well, I'll be the first to admit I absolutely hate this part of the day because it makes this job so tough on me. There's so many exhibitors out here that have the ring presence of exhibitors that are, well over their age, and being able to just stay pretty cool and calm and collected out here in a fairly big stage for a lot of these folks it says something. There's one young exhibitor out here today that is hands down always had a smile on her face and always had a good look for me. Again, let's put our hands together. Toughest job for me out here is to select a champion, but I guess I've got to do it. Congratulations to all of them, and I'll go select your champion, Showman.
Well, congratulations in your first group of showmen. Your champion will go to Riley Purvis and reserve to Sutton Stelzer.
Again, let's put our hands together for these junior showmanship exhibitors out here. An excellent job as well. Again, there's quite a few showmen out here that are several worlds beyond of what their age is out here, and they're all doing an excellent job. I've had a lot of fun joking around with several of them out here, and I like seeing a smile on their face and seeing some personality light up into them. There's one exhibitor out here that I think kind of sets herself on another level, and this young lady in the white shirt right here is going to be your champion showman. Congratulations.
Congratulations, your champion showman in this division will go to Blakely Stelzer.
One last time over here in the mini show, I'd like for each one still left ringside here to go ahead and congratulate our senior showmanship. It's been a lot of fun today, and again, I want to say thanks to everyone who's put on the show, Little Chad, all the ring help today, everyone who's allowed me to come out, the parents, the juniors, the exhibitors, everyone. It's been a lot of fun, and I always look forward to doing stuff like this. Briefly hit again here in the senior showmanship. I think it came down to a few more minor, more obsolete details out here. There's several of them that have done a great job all day for me, but there's one that sets herself up on another level, and the young lady up here at the front of the lineup is going to be your champion showman. Congratulations to every exhibitor. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to all of our showmen in that division, and a special thank you to our judge this evening, Mr. Emery Guy.